Hello and welcome to the Be Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. We've got two bright bees here today. I won't say this morning, and I wanted to introduce you to the vibrant Be Jensen, all the way from Manchester, New Jersey. Welcome, Bee, to the show.
Thank you, Bee.
I
It's a
know we've got
pleasure to be here with you, to
yeah,
be with you and sharing our stories together.
yeah, we've got like the B double E and the BE. It's very cool, isn't it? And then I'm just loving the vibrancy behind you, which you said is all your logo, and my favorite colors, like purples and the greens and the
Yes,
oranges and the reds.
yes,
It's a thrill to have you here, and
yes.
we've got a lot to share in terms of your life story and how you've transitioned and transformed, and the impact you're now making and have been for quite some time in people's lives. So let's just start with a little recap of a bit about you. So, Be Jensen, you're a certified dream builder life coach, and that's been done through the Braves Thinking Institute. You are a John Maxwell leadership team trainer, an NYU certified executive coach behind life and career transformation. And for over 35 years, you have empowered career changers, leaders, and emerging executives to clarify their vision, dismantle limiting beliefs, and design lives they love. You host the transformational programs like the Transformational Life or Career, and that's a 90-day program from what you've explained to me. You also have the Now What, which was me a few years ago, Now What, which is a 90-day clarity journey helping clients reclaim their confidence, purpose, and I guess creative agency in terms of what's next. You have
Mhm,
your own business, which is Life Career Transformation.
mhm.
And I will share that when you booked in to do the pod, and the question I ask around, what's one experience or insight in life, leadership, or business that you would like to share? And you said, I'd like to share my journey from self-doubt to self-confidence and finally finding the courage to let go of my job and pursue my dream life that's aligned with my passion and purpose. Very
Yes,
inspiring, B. Very, very inspiring.
thank you. Thank you.
Tell us about your
Yes,
journey.
yes. I guess life is a journey overall, right? But I guess part of that journey is my own journey to discover who I really am and my authentic self. So I think it would help to provide perspective in terms of where I came from.
Yes.
Because I think I always look back to my history because I think they play a significant role in forming who we are. And where I came from was a country, the Philippines, that I'm very proud of. And we grew up with very, very simple but traditional values of love of family, love of community. Faith is number one because we believe that in spite of the poverty in our country, there's always a higher force who will look out for all of us and provide for all our needs. And then I also grew up from a family that upheld the value of dignity of every human being. My father was a doctor, but he did not distinguish in terms of economic status. He was in a small village doctor, and people sometimes could not afford to pay him. So they would bring chickens from their own backyard, or maybe some food they cooked, or some vegetables in their yard. And that was okay with my dad as long as he helped people. And I think that was instilled in my upbringing to always uphold the dignity and value of every human being I meet, regardless of economic status. So that another value that they taught us was also the value of education, always continuously learning to improve and transform ourselves to become better version of ourselves. Another value that was taught to us is that you don't blow your own horn. You wait till people recognize your value. You
Yeah,
don't tell
ego.
people, I'm great. Okay. That's really part of our culture. And the thing is, because I grew up from a family of 9 children, you can't afford to just demand, this is what I want, and I want it now. That's not the culture in my family. We were taught that be considerate of how your demands is going to affect the rest of the community, which was our family. So there's always the consideration that think twice before you demand anything, and try not to be so selfish and so self-centered. So those are some of the basic values that I grew up with, which I was comfortable with, because what's important for us was that there's harmony in the family and love for each other and respect for each other. Fast forward, I came to the United States and landed in New York City, which is a totally different
Oh my
set of
gosh,
values
yes. From the
and
Philippines to
culture.
New York City. I've been to the Philippines, by the way. I've been to Cebu and all
You
around
have,
that. Yes,
right?
yes.
And how was the experience for you?
Yeah, that's another story in itself. Yeah, that's another story in itself I can explain. But yeah, it was amazing, but it was also crazy, crazy as
Different.
well.
I'm
Yes.
sure it was different. Yes. So coming to New York with these values that I grew up with, and it was totally different, because in New York, whoever is the loudest, whoever is the most aggressive in articulating what they want and asking for it, gets what they want, especially in the workplace, right? And it's okay to tell people and showcase your achievements, because it's about individualism and achievement and accomplishment and performance, right? So I carried my values with me because I held true to my heart. They were who I was, right? But then I realized I was being left behind, because those who were much younger, less experienced probably, were really had no qualms about asking for what they want. And of course, they get promoted, they get raises. And I just asked myself and started to question, am I operating from a different system that's not working in this new context? And what can I do to change and improve, right? So I realized that maybe I'll take the chance of asking for what I want for the first time. And unfortunately, I got turned down. And so that hurt a lot, because I've been investing a lot of time and energy in that organization, hoping that someday they will recognize my worth and value.
And I could only imagine, B, sorry to interrupt you, but I could only imagine you were quite timid. You'd come from the
Yes,
Philippines. You know, your culture is not to be abrasive's the wrong word, but not to be like out there and like, like what, if you don't ask, you don't get sort of thing, And so you probably were like working your way up to asking for something and then to get it shut down. It's almost like, oh, like I could just
that was
imagine.
it was quite a disappointing and heart wrenching, but also I really felt hurt and crushed. And honestly, I almost gave up. That night, I was crying my heart out. And I said, what's the point? I will never be appreciated or valued here. But one thing I realized within myself, there was a little voice that said, no, don't give up. If it's meant to be, it's up to be. Okay? You got to put a stop to all of this right now. Something's got to change, and it's up to you, B, to make that change. So, you know what I did? I decided that moment, if no one wants to believe in me, I have to believe in myself and my own self worth. Because if I don't, nobody else will. And then I decided to invest in my own professional and personal growth. I invested in a transformational system that taught me how to think bravely, act boldly, and believe in my own self worth, and believe that I deserve to claim what I love. It was 2 years of consistently applying the principles of the system, changing my mindset, changing my negative self beliefs, and all the old paradigms that were holding me back, and rediscovering my own greatness, rediscovering the power within me to overcome any obstacles that would get in my way, and most of all, believing that I'm worth it. And so, as that confidence started to grow, I also felt that my health was better, my mindset and my mental and emotional well-being was better. I was communicating more clearly, and it helped my relationships with my husband, with my friends. And you know, the best part is the same organization that I got turned down earlier offered me a promotion.
because you transform from the inside out, right?
Yes, the change has to come from within us, and it starts with our own self beliefs. Overcome and crush those negative self beliefs because they're limiting us. And then be willing to change and be willing to all explore other potential within yourself and to step up for yourself. And there are four great lessons from this experience that I wanted to share to the world because whoever out there in the world has experience similar to mine, I feel it my message can benefit them. The first one is that believe in your own self-worth and self-deserving because if you don't, nobody else will. Believe in your right to claim what you deserve because it's your inherent right to claim what will make you happy. Okay. The third one, again, what I shared earlier, is that believe you have the power within you to really overcome any obstacles, any setbacks, any failures, any challenges you face, and believe you can rise above that and thrive and become a better, stronger version of yourself because it happened to me, it can happen to you.
Yeah.
And last but not least is that don't be afraid to ask for help or support because you can't do it on your own. And welcome people. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and support you. And you'll be amazed that once you allow them to show you that they care, then you will also start caring for yourself because I think that's very important. Sometimes we take ourselves for granted. We push aside our own ideas, feelings, or dreams because we want to serve the world. But it's also important to look into ourselves and say, I need time to care for me because if I run out, I have nothing left to give. So
Yeah.
I think it's very important. And the more I realized also that, the saying that we have to care for others first. No, we love others as we love ourselves. And we have to learn that self care and nurture and protect ourselves, define our own boundaries, and stand firm to really stand firm to who we are and what we believe and what we value. And don't be afraid to speak up and go out there and take bold action to claim the life, the career, the happiness that you deserve. Because I believe you're worth it.
Yeah, I love it. No, it's so true. And, like for me, it's not just strength when, like it's being fulfilled, it's filling that cup of yours up. Like, we generally quite often, it's like when we've got something wrong with us or we've got a challenge, rather than have to go within. And, we were talking briefly around the alignment and the soul piece just pre-show. Well, and I don't know about you, but like, when I've had forms of adversity or whatever's happened, I've resisted having to go in and go, what's actually going on inside of me? What's causing this? And so then I've looked for all the external answers, and yet at the end of the day, there's no external answers. It's all from within, right? And so we have this tendency at times to focus more on the external, the
Yes,
outside in versus the inside out. And it's only when
exactly.
we've gone within and done the actual work. And like you say, the self-care, actually at times really testing and questioning ourselves. And that's where the boldness and for me, the courage and the ability to be brave and sit with what comes
Yes,
up and
yes,
the silence it's in some points is when you actually do transform. And so then once you've transformed from the inside, it's very noticeable from the outside and you almost radiate or illuminate. Look,
yes,
this is where you shine your brightest, right? And like it's
yes,
clearly, from you doing
yes,
what you did and, even what I've been doing, it's like you feel different and,
yes,
you look different, but you probably looked at yourself in the mirror and thought, I don't look any different, but everyone can see something different in you. It's such an
yes.
interesting thing.
Yes, it's you radiate the joy within you that no one else can take, and you radiate that peace within you because you're at peace with yourself. You're comfortable with yourself, and it's saying like, "Wow, I'm my own best friend now. I don't need anybody else to validate what I'm worth. I'm worth it. I know, I believe it, right?"
Yeah.
Yes, and there's a joke that I tell my friends. I said, "We're no Okay, we don't need no validation. We're not parking tickets."
I like that. We don't, no, we're not. We're actually not. So tell me, you did all the work on yourself, you took the promotion, but then how did you then come into the space of I want to help others in
Yeah,
terms of, the need to you've moved to New York City. It's a hard city in terms of like, yeah, it's a bit of a rat race. I love
it
the
is a rat
one of
race.
my favorite cities in the world, but like,
Yeah.
everyone's like,
Yes. Yes, everybody's really out to just survive because it's like a rat
yeah.
race over there. But I realized after 2 years in that new position, I just there was still that longing within me. Something bigger was calling out and saying, "B, you have that message that you have to share with others and lift up others who probably struggling with the same struggles you had when you were first came to the United States. And there are others in the world that are probably waiting to hear that word of encouragement and hope. And it's been confirmed 3 times. It has to do with a journey on a train station. Every time I go on a journey on a train station, 3 times, there have been 3 incidents when I meet a total stranger. And within about 10 minutes of our conversation, they broke down and cried and opened their hearts to me and told me whatever was burdening them in their heart. Because all I did was ask, "Are you okay? Can I help you?" And these are total strangers. One was in the midst of Fulton Street, New York City, one of the busiest subway stations. And so that girl was from South Africa. She was also wearing a cane, and I said, "What's the matter? Why are you crying?" She said, "My dreams are falling down the drain because I was hoping to come to New York as a dancer, and I sprained my ankle, and I don't know if I can dance again." And it's a gift of faith that my parents gave me. I listened to her as much as she needed to talk. And when she calmed down a little bit, I offered her, "Can we have a moment of prayer where I can pray for you?" And she was so open, and we just both prayed, and she was crying. I was crying. And this is in the midst of New York City. We were in the corner, right? And then at the end, and I said, "You're not alone in New York. I can give you my phone number, my email. We can stay connected so you won't feel all alone." And he said, "You've given me all I needed to try again, to keep hoping and to keep going." I said, it's not necessary now because just that moment of just being able to lift somebody up, a complete stranger, we don't even need to exchange names, just is enough to lift somebody. And I said, and this is not the first time. There were 2 more incidents in the train station when similar, somebody just stranger opened up, and we end up sharing that sacred moment where I kind of hold the space for her to just be and be present to her and just be with her. And again, we're still in touch with each other, these two, because for them that meant a lot. But it's not so much even me telling them, who I am. It's more of that's what I feel I'm being called to do. It's like we have such a short time in this world. And at the end of my life, I want to look back is did I really make a difference to
Yeah,
somebody?
agree.
And it would be a waste if I can look back and say I haven't done anything for anyone. For me, those are moments that are really powerful and meaningful that uplifts me spiritually and emotionally and fulfills me. And that's who I am. Just be who I am. Be an instrument of peace, instrument of joy, of hope, of love, of compassion, because we all need that today. There's so much. Look around. There's war in Ukraine. There's
Yeah,
war in
I was going
this.
to talk to you about that in terms of like you've been doing this for over 35 years and you were just beautiful then. Like you're just your emotions and the dedication and commitment you have to serving others is beautiful. So thank you for that, B. That was beautiful what you just shared. And you must be seeing, and I certainly am, more and more of it in terms of we're all a lot of us are operating from this survival mode where it's a rat race, it's trying to keep up, we're unfulfilled, we're exhausted, we're over the hustle,
Mm.
but we don't know how to almost. like, it's now what? It's back to your now what? Like I'm here, but I don't know what to do next. And
Yes,
so this
yes,
ability to be able to hold someone's hand and go, yeah, it's uncomfortable and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be a bit of a rocky road. But if you believe that there is more out there and there's more for you and do the work required,
yeah,
this is where we can change the world and can change this order of disconnected survival mode because the
mhm.
world is not going to slow down. We're in the most craziest evolution, AI is here,
Exactly.
everything's going on. It's like the days are flying by, but we have a choice. We as a society and as a human system have the opportunity to go, actually, just because this is coming at us at a rate of knots, the world, and everything that's going on for political war, etc. How do we show up? How do we want to show up in this world? And this is where I think that we have a choice, and the choice is that
Okay.
we can step into a place of joy, a place of,
Peace.
aligning to our values, connecting our mind, bodies, and souls. And, it's not happy, happy every day. Like we all have things that happen and we have to kind of, get out of that. Okay, well, here I am. How do I get myself out of it?
Yes.
But I think that there is an opportunity to reshape and redefine what the world looks like as we go forward, especially for the younger generations and the
Yes.
people. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I've noticed this in my observations with the younger generation. Just an example, right? My husband and I were having dinner in Red Lobster, right? And then we saw a young couple on a date. And they sat down, they placed their order, and they started playing on their phones in front of each other. And my husband and I were saying, why the heck did they go on a date when they're just going to play with their phones
I know.
instead of being connected and talking to each other? You know, we have lost the art of conversation, connection, communication, because listening to another person, uh, I met a nice gentleman. He's also a podcaster, and he shared this insight with me. He said, "You're not my friend. You're my pal, because I have to be present, about to be aware, and I have to listen to
Well,
you."
like that.
So that is beautiful, right? So, and I said, "Oh, I like that. I like that. I just want to share that with everyone. We are just being called to be present to each other, to be aware of the presence of the other person, and to listen." And then have a real conversation where you're not just waiting to jump in to say what you have to say, but you're really listening. What's the emotion behind the words? What's the unspoken message behind the words of this person? And we need more of that, where sometimes they don't express what they really want, or they're not good at expressing it. My main concern with the youth today is everything, searching used to everything accessible so easily, information, or they can get what they want and order it online anytime.
Instant. Yeah, it's instant. Yeah.
Yeah. The conveniences of modern age, the conveniences of just having being able to do your research using AI to help you, collect all the information and have your report. Those are all conveniences, but there are certain things in life that are there to give us a lesson, but also to help us become stronger versions of ourselves. And those are difficulties and struggles. I don't want to make a generalization, but in my observation of the younger generation, early 20s to probably mid 30s, is that they're not as patient when life throws them a curveball. It's reactionary as opposed to reflective and say, what is there for me to learn in this situation? And it's sort of like, and it's sad because everything that we encounter in life, whether it's a trial, it's a tribulation, it's an obstacle, if we stop a moment and say, what can I learn from this situation, and how can I rise above this situation so I become a stronger version of
Better,
myself?
stronger and better, if you ask me. A stronger and better person coming out of it. Yeah.
Yes. And I think when you're constantly used to convenience, fast, easy, and no time for reflection, that's an opportunity missed. And also, when you're going too fast, you don't really have time to really connect with your own emotions on what is it really that that's that you're feeling inside in terms of your response to a situation and understand yourself. I think the key to self-management is self-awareness.
Couldn't agree more. So how do we change it though, B? Like, I mean, this isn't going away. This situation, like, and this is what's happening, then we're seeing more and more mental health issues, loneliness, like the disconnection, getting caught, like just, so engrossed in our tech, our screens. There's got
Well,
to be a way to,
one way I deal, especially with my younger members of my family, is always inject these teachings of wisdom and inspiration, where it helps them to become aware of something else other than themselves. Is there either share with them an inspirational story I see where an act of kindness or awareness of somebody else other than yourself, when somebody stepped out of their phone and went out of the way to help somebody. It's use the media that they're so used to as a means to also teach them
yeah,
and to teach them, because I realize when I start sharing those moments, they're very responsive. Oh, thank you, this is insightful, thank you. And then also in times of crisis, when usually they don't know how to deal with it, you have to model being the source of strength and where that source of strength is coming from. And so one of it is number one, being honest and be aware of your own emotions and what you're going through. And also helping them and guiding them to dig in terms of creative ways to deal with a challenge that they're confronting with. So
mm,
that it's a way of teaching them to harness that in spite of the challenge, they still have that strength and
yeah,
potential to
and
overcome
yeah, and they're going to be okay. I really like the way you just talked around the media, getting through to them through their own like forms of. I think that's what's so important because we've got how many generations now in the world, like in terms of from a business career perspective, I think there's 5 to 7 different generations.
it.
And so,
Yes,
how a baby boomer likes to be communicated to versus a millennial or versus a Gen Z
exactly.
or an alpha or all the other generations up and coming, I think
Yes,
it's really important to be able to connect in a way that resonates with them
yes,
because otherwise it becomes a lecture or it's almost like for me that top-down hierarchical old way of doing things, which isn't
yes.
working anymore. So like how do
Well,
we, speaking to someone about decentralization last night on the pod, and it's almost like how do we decentralize this kind of I'm just coming up with this right now actually, but like because we've
yeah,
got so many different generations,
yes. I
it
think it
doesn't
starts with,
yeah,
yeah, with the willingness to understand how do they, number one, process information, okay? Because they have different ways of processing information and what's the best way. And then give everybody a space to have a voice. And then give them a space where they can contribute where they feel. Because I think, regardless of the advancement in technology, the human need remains the same. The
100%.
need the need number one for safety and security, then the hierarchy, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Once the basic needs of food, shelter, the next one is the feeling of security that they're safe, then the sense of belonging. All those needs remain. They just express in different ways, right? And the need to really be valued. And I realized when the younger generation, when I acknowledge what they have done right and what they're good at, they really appreciate it because the need is still there, right? And then the challenge to say, this is a situation. What do you think we can do about this? Sometimes they're very creative, like somebody needs this. Is what do you think we can do to help this person? And then give them an opportunity to step up. Okay. Because I noticed that when somebody is in a place of weakness, when they're sick, they're helpless. The younger generation are just as capable of giving, given the opportunity. So give them the opportunity to give. Invite them to community service where younger kids are not fed or don't have clothes, or where people are at a disadvantage, and raise their awareness through exposure, or maybe through information, through media, and saying this is how atrocious the hunger is in this country or in this neighborhood, which is right in your neighborhood. Raise their awareness, because they are capable of researching these things. It's
Yeah,
just they're focused on
absolutely.
something else.
Absolutely.
Focus on ordering on Amazon and ordering. Okay, which is, when you're young, that's your privilege, right? But also give them opportunities to be aware that there's a different part of the world that they can contribute to, and then help them process of how did they feel that they contributed something. Oftentimes it's the same reaction that anybody has. I felt good, I was able to help somebody.
Yeah. And then on the flip of that, I think it's also like then, as you get older and, the older generations, that are like, in their careers and then they're like, now what sort of thing. There's opportunity there too, though, because, they've climbed a ladder, they've got to the top of their game, but they're like looking around going, I'm not fulfilled. There's still that opportunity to do exactly what you've been talking about with the younger ones.
It's not too late.
It's not
It's
too
not too
late.
late
It's not too
to make a
late.
difference.
Exactly. That was what
Yeah.
I was needing to I needed that.
Yeah.
Thank you. But it's not too late. It's not too late. Like you can start at any age. It's not too late. And I think we quite often get stuck also in this survival mode because we're like, well, I'm at this age now. It's too late. I can't change. I can't do things differently. I just have to keep doing what I'm doing and being so unfulfilled. And I'm like, who says? Who says?
Who says you can't try this, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that when I was in one of the experiences I had is that there was a program I was in my previous job long time ago. I was also running a family literacy program where the young kids were being developed in teaching them social emotional learning, but also being aware of the community and the needs. So one program, a great a partnership with a senior citizen center where the younger kids adopted a grandma, and they made it a point to visit those older in the senior citizen, so that to just talk to them, to cheer them up, to write them what they learned. And it really brightened up the elderly, because they saw children coming to visit them and having a conversation with them, which they miss so much because they're so isolated. So creating opportunities for people to connect is really great, especially the younger generation and the older generation, because that's how you realize we are still human beings. We still have the common need to really be seen, be heard, be appreciated, and just be valued. And whether it's a young kid, and the kids were saying, "We had a good time, we
Yeah,
want to
I
go
love
back."
it. I love
Yeah.
it.
So
So
it's
B,
possible.
tell me
It's
what
possible.
is your it is possible. It's what's that? It was that quote. Oh, the Audrey Hepburn one around what's possible and what's not. Like the impossible is possible. I love that quote because it's true. The impossible is possible. What's your one hope for the world? Like, what's your one hope for the world or society at large?
One hope for the world is, remember, each and every one of us is a masterpiece because we are a piece of the master that created us. And we had such tremendous value, dignity that it requires and deserves respect. And if we take a moment to just say, instead of giving into our emotions of anger, stop a moment, is what can I do to lift up this person, to become a better person of herself and lift myself up. And I think when we stop a moment and then start your day by saying, whose life can you make a difference to today? Even if it's just one life every day, 365 lives in a year. That's quite a legacy.
Yeah, I love that. You've made a difference in my day today, that's for sure.
Well, I hope I brighten up your day, Bee. Because
Yeah,
I
you
think like bee, the bees, we collect pollen, but we distribute it, right? We distribute it so that new life comes up.
yeah, you can't. There's the bees. The world can't survive without bees. So we need more. We need more bees buzzing around
Yes.
and,
Yes.
like you say, dropping the pollen and, sharing the goodness in the world. One
Yes. And
last, oh, sorry,
when
you go.
somebody was asking me, who's my favorite cartoon character, it's Tinkerbell.
Oh, yes. God,
Because
she's
she
good.
throws the fairy dust.
Sleeping
And the fairy
Beauty.
dust for me are fairy dust of hope, of love, of peace and joy. If we can just do that one person at a time every day, what a brighter world we have.
I love that.
Mm.
Tinkerbell was Sleeping Beauty, right? I'm pretty sure that was my favorite.
No, no, Peter Pan.
Oh, Peter Pan. Sorry, there you go. But
It's
yeah, I
okay.
love it. B, what would be one last question for you, and then I'll let you get to your evening. What would be one piece of advice you would give somebody who was in transition in life or in a now what situation? Like they were at a crossroads with career, life, or a now what? What would be one piece of advice you would give them at this very moment?
Number one is give yourself the time to really rediscover your authentic self
Yes.
and be connected to your core. And the author of the Now What program, she says each of us is a yolk inside, okay, and we have to discover the yolk, our essence. Sometimes it's been buried through the years because of our experiences, but be open to rediscovering your own true essence and authentic self. Because once you allow that to come up and you really give them the attention, the nurturing that it needs, it will really waken up within yourself that new sense of passion that you had, passion that gives you the joy, the drive to really make you feel alive, and listen to that inner voice within you. And don't be afraid if it leads you in a path other than what you're used to, because you'll be surprised what it unravels, the path it unravels, the path to joy, the path to harmony and peace of mind. Reason I say this is because those who've gone through that Now What program, there have been cases where they have decided to give up a six-figure salary to do what they truly love, and they never regretted it. Okay, they never regretted it because they find joy that's aligned with their soul, their dream. And listen to that inner voice and don't be afraid to pursue the life you've always dreamed of, because you're worth it. You deserve it. You deserve to be happy.
And be you. Yeah. B, thank you so much. How do we find out more about you and all the goodness and joy you're sharing in the world?
Well, in my website, you can find a free gift, two free gifts. You can download a guide on how to create an abundant mindset so you create an abundant life. And then in the other gift I have is I offer a 45-minute to an hour free discovery session. If you want to also rediscover your essence, I'd offer a 1 hour free discovery session. So my website is
.com.
www.life-career-transformation.com.
Yes, I'll share that in the show notes. And then obviously LinkedIn.
Yes, and LinkedIn and Facebook, I'm also there. But if you're ready for change and to claim that life, I'd be happy to accompany you in your journey.
Thank you,
It'll
B.
be fun and have fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed talking with you
Me
and
too.
sharing this. Yes, thank you for your kindness and for your allowing me the space and time
No,
to,
thank
to
you. And thank you for your brightness and your joy and all your words of wisdom and your lived experiences. It's been absolutely beautiful. Go and enjoy your lovely Monday evening and have a happy week ahead.
thank you. We enjoy the rest of your week and the rest of your life. We'll stay in touch.
For
Okay.
sure. Thank you, B. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.